Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. We are glad to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about the topic of the parents cheating to get their kids into college. Well, we're also going to take a look at the science aspect of that, of what is going to happen if the parents who are financially enabled decide, wait, instead of donating a building, instead of cheating on tests or cheating through sports, what if they instead decide to go to science in order to cheat? That's what we're going to take a look at today. So first up, in the New York Post, we have an article that says America's parents have become morally bankrupt. And of course, they're picking on those poor celebrities. You know, there's all those people in the same case, and it's these two women that are getting highlighted more than anything. The downside of celebrity. The university cheating scandal last week, in which 50 people, including Hollywood celebrity parents Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, scammed the system to get kids into elite colleges, is a clarifying moment. It reveals that too many American parents have completely lost their minds. Indeed, mothers and fathers today are taking helicopter parenting to new and monstrous levels. And that's what I want to look at. In her article, she looks at monsters from the point of view of parents participating in violence, celebrating violence, and just not able to keep it in control. But what we want to look at today is that article. And then in this one, we have from City Journal, The Unmasking of College Admissions Fraud. And that one addresses the issue of cheating from a whole different sort of angle. For example, it says the real scam has less to do with wealthy cheaters who got caught than with the university system itself. And she goes through a very long list of ways to show that people who are not eligible through meritocracy find their way in through all of these different holes that are, you know, if you want to use the expression Swiss cheese doesn't do it justice. So that's how she talks about it. Well, let's take a look at a third angle that so far nobody's proposing, but I'm going to introduce it here. And that is the call for CRISPR moratorium echoes early days of gene therapy. Now, if you're not familiar with what CRISPR is, it's a method of gene splicing that we perfected a few years ago for food, and then we decided, hey, can we do this on living creatures that are, not food? Meat animals? And it turns out, yes, we can. All right, so let's take a look at this, and then we'll get into our discussion. A group of influential scientists have urged that clinical use of CRISPR be put on hold in the wake of the Chinese gene-edited baby debacle. The call to suspend research on heritable germline DNA is reminiscent of the self-imposed moratorium when gene therapy first emerged in the 1970s. It is also a reminder that maintaining ethical standards is critical during the frothy times surrounding exciting novel medical technologies. And then it just goes on to describe how CRISPR works and, kind of sort of the pros and the cons. I remember when they voted on it in Europe back, I think in 2014 or 15, and they said, okay, scientists, here's the deal, Neil. We now have technology to make humans void of hereditary diseases. Should we do it? And everybody's like, oh, grumble, grumble, no, we're by Frankenstein, no, grumble, grumble. And then they asked the follow-up question, which is, do you think we'll do it anyways? And everybody's like, grumble, grumble. Yeah, of course. We did it. We always do it. We always say we shouldn't do it. We always scream Frankenstein. Wow, where would we be without Mary Shelley? God bless that teenage little girl. Yep, so they always say they're not going to do it, and then given enough time, they do it. Some people call that defining deviancy down. Some people say putting it science over God. Whatever you want to apply to it, the constant is we always wind up doing it. Now, how does that relate to our college situation? It relates to it a lot, because here is an example of parents that have done everything within their financial means to get their kids in. They hired people to take the test for them. They hired people to lie and say that their kids aren't okay in the head so that they can have extended time on the test. They've taken pictures of their children with photoshopped heads doing sports. The list goes on and on and on. But what would be the reason to not go the next level and use science and go, I'm going to create my child as a CRISPR child. They'll have no genetic flaws whatsoever. It's hard to imagine that those with means, especially since we have, if we're to take the New York Post idea of America's parents have become morally bankrupt to its full extent, and maybe not even happen to go to the full extent. Again, we've gone through this with the gene therapy, with the test tube babies, etc., etc., etc. All these things that were freaks of nature are, yet we do them all the time now. But the difference is with CRISPR children, once you make them, and they're kind of sort of biologically perfect from the point of view of genetics. Now, they can still get diseases that are not genetic related, which is plenty, thank you very much. But if you are a fan of science fiction, this storyline has been carried out over and over and over. It was the whole basis of Space Seed in Star Trek, the original series, which was turned into Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Khan was from the science fiction created era of genetically modified perfect human beings, and they were killing everybody because they're like, hey, we're better than you. We're going to kill you. At least we didn't eat you. And so they sent them out, and then Kirk accidentally woke them up from their cyber sleep, and or hibernation sleep, sorry. And then you have this really great battle scene in one of the best science fiction movies ever in Star Trek II. But the idea being, do you think that parents, given the chance to make their kids genetically perfect, are going to say no? They've already done it in China. And once they're done, once those kids are created, their children will be, it's genetic. It means their children will be perfect too. And once you get one generation, 2 generations of genetically kind of sort of perfect people, why wouldn't they kill everybody else? That's the history of man, is for the strong to kill the weak. That's why when Abraham Lincoln said, let us prove that right makes might, not might making right, that everybody's like, well, that's a good idea, but are we going to be able to make it happen? And we know what happened to Lincoln, don't we? And we know what happened after it. You know, you got the whole era of carpetbaggers. Oh, yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that this is the iceberg underneath the tip? The tip of the iceberg is the cheating parents for college, but the real iceberg is CRISPR children. Again, what do you think? As Tim says, keep the conversation going. Put some comments down below. Let us know what you think. We appreciate you stopping by. If you like the video, put a little like on there, and if you want to subscribe, we'd love to have you. Yep. So we'll see you in the future.